Buying a home is more than just a transaction. It's a journey. And for many, it can feel overwhelming, confusing, and even a little scary. But hey, you're not alone. Welcome to From Rents to Roots, Home Ownership with Work Hard Mortgage, where we share real stories from real people who have navigated the home buying process. In each episode, we sit down with first-time homebuyers, industry experts, and real estate professionals to talk about the challenges, surprises, and lessons they've learned along the way. If you're dreaming of owning a home but don't know where to start, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome, Wylene Benson, to From Rents to Roots, where we get to know the different agents and different things that are going on in the real estate world here in Utah. Thank you. Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
So before we started here, you were telling us a little bit about your background. So originally from Georgia? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, originally from Georgia, but I've lived in Utah for 50 years. And so I feel I still call that home.
Sure, yeah.
And I love going back there. But this is where I grew up here. I met my husband here. It's definitely home.
Yeah, you've been here a while. Okay, yeah. My wife's from Atlanta.
Nice.
So
awesome.
we go back every now and then too and stuff like that. And I think Case has a friend there too, right?
Cool. We got something in common.
I got something in common. Georgia's a good place. There's a lot of people in Georgia. Okay, so you said you grew up here then in Utah then? What part of Utah did you grow up in?
Mapleton.
Mapleton, okay.
Yeah, my mom was actually born in Mapleton, and my dad met her here, took her back to Georgia, and they lived there for 14 years, and then she always wanted to come back. Right. That's what brought us back, and just I've loved Mapleton, and so when my husband and I got married, we bought a house there, and we still live in that same house.
Oh, wow.
40 years this
40
year.
years, okay. Yeah, because Mapleton, for a long time, was just a small town. Not a lot of people knew about it. It now seems to be growing a lot. Is that?
When I first moved here, there were only 3,000 people in Mapleton, and it was not even on the map. If you tell people you lived in Mapleton, they're like, where the heck is that?
Yeah, where's Mapleton?
You'd have to tell them, go through Springville, and it's between Springville and Spanish Fork. But it's grown a lot. I think there's over 10,000 people there now, and we always had a really nice view across the street, and we've got 2 new houses going in. And 2 lots that have been sold. Okay. Yeah, we're enjoying that growth as well, but we love our new neighbors, so it's awesome.
That's growth is always, can be good, but it comes with its own challenges.
Right.
Okay. Talk to me about real estate. How did you, how long have you been in real estate? Why did you get into real estate?
Oh, good question. I've actually been involved in real estate for over 30 years. My husband and I have bought and sold some rental properties. We've done a little bit of real estate investing. And I even worked for a real estate investor and was a referral agent for him for about 5 years. And so that, I've gotten a little background with that. And then I started working at the RE/MAX Lighthouse office a few years ago as an office manager because I have a background in accounting and I love the numbers. That's one of the things I love about real estate. And just in working there, I realized there was a lot of stuff I couldn't do because I didn't have a license. And just wanting to help out more, I went ahead and got my license. But then I realized really quickly that I could do a lot more as an agent and help people a lot more people, not just the people in the office. And so I decided to quit that part-time job that I had there and do real estate full-time, and that's where I'm at now.
Good. And it may be a little scary at first. Obviously, you're probably going from getting paid regularly to commission only kind of thing, right?
Yes. In fact, I held on to that job for a little bit because of just the security. But one of the things I realized really quickly is that as far as the money goes, it was just a drop in the bucket to what, I felt like I could do in real estate. As a real estate professional, I just feel like I can make more of a career of it instead of just a little part-time gig.
And so maybe speak to that for a second. You got maybe some new agents or new loan officers that are talking about that fear of going all in, because it is a little scary to be totally dependent on your own efforts. Speak to that, or what counsel would you give to those agents or loan officers that are just in that start-off phase?
100%.
That's really scary.
Yes, I definitely felt that, and I've seen other agents that have felt that too. They're a little bit worried about letting go of that secure income. But one of the things that I do is I really listen to my heart, and I do pray about my business. I pray every day for guidance on who to talk to and all that kind of stuff. And that was really what my heart was telling me, was that if I would go all in and just be 100% in this, that I would be taken care of. And it was really interesting when I went in and talked to Sherry, my broker, to let her know that I was going to be quitting. While I was in that conversation, I got a text from somebody saying that they wanted me to help them look at a house. They had a house they wanted me to show them. And it was my very first sale. And I know,
awesome.
I felt like that was like a second witness.
Yeah, a little confirmation, like, hey, no, you're going to be okay.
Yeah. And, after that first sale, it did take a few months for me to get another transaction.
Sure.
But because of that, making that decision, I didn't ever go back. I never looked back.
Yeah.
And so I think that's probably some advice is once you make that decision to go forward, you just know that forward is the only way.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. Because, again, it's scary. It's hard to go off on your own and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think something that's really easy to do when you're new as a realtor, loan officer, or any kind of like commission job like that, it's easy to look around and compare, oh, I have my friend who's working his hourly job over here. He's making this much money. I'm working really hard and I don't see anything. I don't see any
there's no paycheck.
There's no paycheck. I don't see any money coming in. And so it's really easy to doubt yourself. So when you look back, it's really easy to hesitate and it's hard to give it your 100%.
I think I was really lucky not lucky, I just feel all of our experiences are a culmination to where we are now, who we've become. Yeah. And I actually did Mary Kay for 18 years, and that was a commission only. And so I think just having that experience of the up and down on the income, it had prepared me for that, and my husband rode through that with me as well. Yeah. And he's actually disabled and has been for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And he wasn't all on board with the commission in Mary Kay, but he did see that it can turn out really great. It's a sales position can be scary because it's not 100% getting a paycheck every time, but every week or whatever, but it also has potential for so much higher gains. Yeah. And he saw that too. And so there was no hesitation when I said that I felt like it would be good for me to put 100% into this. Yep, I think you're right. Let's go for it.
And I guess maybe to speak to that too, because the other benefit is you control a little bit more of your destiny in that regard. If you're working for somebody else, if they don't like you for whatever reason, all of a sudden you're gone. But whereas real estate, hey, your effort is directly rewarded, right?
So exactly.
I don't know.
And I have had that experience as well. I have worked for other people, and one job, I thought it was going to be my retirement. I was actually in line to be the next CEO of a multi-million-dollar company.
Wow.
And the CEO had his exit strategy, and he had named me as the person that he wanted to take his place.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that again.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
And he had named me as the person to take his place when he retired. I just thought that this was our future, but then a week later, they let me go.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those things you just don't have any control over that.
Yeah.
And I've been fired from a job. I've been downsized. I've experienced it all. Yeah. And that's why I love being an entrepreneur, because you do have a lot more control.
Yeah, no, definitely a lot more control. So let's shift a little bit to the real estate market here in Utah and stuff. Obviously, it's been slower for several years here now and stuff like that. Is it still slow? Are you seeing some change there? Talk to me about the market, I guess, in general, big picture.
I think I have a really good positive outlook on real estate in general, and probably because I've got some history in buying and selling myself. Yeah. But I never have really seen any time where I felt like it was, quote, a bad market. Okay. I feel like there's always people that are buying and selling. If it's a down market, there's going to be investors that will be picking properties up. They see that as an opportunity. If, it's high, then there's going to be people that want to sell. Yeah. And so you just find the people that it's perfect for them to be making a change or making a move. And there's always people that are going to be moving because of job or because of just transition in personal life. For instance, right after this interview, I'm going to meet with someone who's selling their home. Nice. And it's because they're getting older and they're getting to a point where they can't do stairs anymore, and they really need to move to a different property. So I think just life in general creates opportunities. And so if you're just open to work with people and find out how you can serve them, I feel like there's always going to be opportunities.
Love that.
I like that.
And how are you finding those people? What are you finding that works as far as your own marketing and stuff like that there?
I feel like I create opportunities.
Okay.
For instance, this couple that I'm going to meet with is in a neighborhood where I had a house listed last year and sold it. We actually got an offer within 24 hours of putting it on the market, a full price offer, cash offer.
Yeah.
And that I was able to get to meet a lot of the neighbors in that neighborhood. And it's one of the neighbors that I got to interact with. And they just called me and said that they were ready. As far as like creating opportunities, because I have done some real estate investing, I have a little bit of a network of people, not professional real estate investors, but just normal people that are just looking to create some income, or they want to start building a legacy for their children to leave to their children or whatever. Yeah. So just normal people just getting a rental property or whatever. And I had an idea of a couple of markets that I have seen growing. I told you I lived in Mapleton for the last 50 years, and I've seen it really grow from 3,000 people to over 10,000. Yeah. And I've identified a couple of markets. It's just me personally. It's not like the experts or whatever. Yeah, but me personally, I've identified a couple of markets that I feel like are going to be that same type of experience, where if you get in now, you're going to see that growth like what Mapleton has experienced. And I'll even just say it's Mount Pleasant and Goshen. Okay. I feel like those two areas, they're sleepers, but I have seen similar type things happening that I feel like they're going to be the hot market to be in.
Interesting.
And so what I did was I just reached out to some of my investor friends and I said, hey, this is what I think. And I showed some of the data? Yeah, some of the data, some of just the things that I've noticed. Yeah, trends, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. And some of the things that I've recognized that are happening in even Spanish Fork and some of those other areas that I'm like, you know what, this in 10 years, this property is going to be, there's going to be some equity here that can be experienced. And so I just reached out to them, and none of them were really even thinking about buying properties, and now they're considering it. So I think sometimes if you're like, oh, I just got to wait for somebody to call me and tell me that they're ready to buy, but they don't even know that they're ready to buy until you maybe plant that little seed.
Yeah. So really being an advisor, you're really taking on that advisor role, right?
Yeah, I feel like I am a consultant or an advisor to some extent. I have another couple that I'm going to be meeting with again later today, and they were all set to sell their house. They've been downsizing, like cleaning out, they've been getting it ready to sell. But in sitting down and talking to them, I'm like, I don't know if selling's really the best option for you. And so I'm going to be meeting with them later today, and I've got 4 or 5 different options, and there's not going to be a commission in it for me. It's going to be like 4 or 5 different ways that they could utilize the money that they have, the assets that they have, to provide for their future in a better way. Because if you sell a house, you've got the equity and everything, but then it's gone. That house is gone. If you hold on to it and ride it out and let it grow a little bit more, then you might have a better opportunity. And that's what I see for this couple. So hopefully they would use me in the future or refer me to somebody else. But I do feel like I'm an advisor or a consultant for people. And if it's not the best option for them to sell their house or to buy, then I'm going to tell them that.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, we'll have to look at those areas. Goshen and the Mount Pleasant, you said, right?
Yeah.
So, because they're small towns, not a lot of housing. I've done a couple loans for people out there, but not a lot, and they haven't really appreciated a lot. But now that would be great if things start to change and stuff.
And it's on its way. Like the prices are coming up a little bit, but it's still a little bit lower than, say, Central Utah County.
Sure. And do you think it's just because it's cheaper housing out there, and so that's where there's going to be a draw for that? Or what do you think plays into that, I guess, as far as why those areas become better?
Goshen, I feel, is like the old Mapleton. Okay. It's far enough off of the freeway, but it's still close enough within, I haven't driven out there for a little while, but I think it's 20 minutes from the freeway, 25, which is about what Mapleton used to be. Mapleton's a little closer to the freeway now, and they've got that new exit coming on.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But we also have Spanish Fork Airport that's really picking up, and typically you want to be within about 15 minutes of a major freeway that will get you to the airport within an hour. So
Yeah.
that's another reason why Mapleton has been so great, because it's off the freeway,
Yeah.
but you can still get on there. You can still get basically anywhere you want to go within an hour. But with Spanish Fork Airport and Provo Airport right there, I feel like eventually those are going to grow, and then Goshen's just like right there.
Yeah.
And it's still kind of country rural feel,
Totally.
which a lot of people like.
Totally.
And you can get larger plots of land for a little bit cheaper than other places. So I think it'll just be another Mapleton.
Okay.
And then as far as Mount Pleasant, I've seen a lot of people retiring there. And I know people from there.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law's from there.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little familiar with that area.
Yeah.
And it's just a beautiful place to live.
It is.
And they do have they've got a grocery store. They have like all the
Yeah.
things and they have a small airport there in Ephraim.
Okay.
Near
Okay.
Ephraim. I don't know exactly where it is.
Sure.
But anyway, and a college.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there's just a lot of amenities there. Almost feel like it's going to be another sort of Saratoga Springs or something like that, where it's out in the middle of nowhere, but eventually they're going to fill in all of the amenities, so you don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
You'll have everything that you need.
You heard it here. Real estate tips. So some hot buys here. Talk to me about, so with the market and stuff like that, talk to me about first-time home buyers and advice that you would give them. There's a lot of people, I think the average age is a little bit later than it used to be, right? As far as people buying homes and stuff, it's creeping into the 30s now. Like, what, is that a good trend? And how do we help these guys get into homes and stuff?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is mindset. It's actually 40 is the
Okay.
average age for a first-time home buyer
Okay.
now, which is crazy to me because when I was buying a home, it's like you got out of school, you got a job, you saved money, you bought
Yeah.
a house. It was just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but it is a little bit different now. But I think a lot of it is mindset. I think media has really played this up that you just can't afford to buy a house
Yeah.
or whatever. Obviously, there's tons of programs
Mm-hmm.
to help people get into homes, helping them with down payment or even like a zero down payment even. So the down payment is not really the problem. I feel like it is the affordability after they get into the house.
Sure.
And Utah's growing. It's as far as like business, commercial, there's just tons of commerce coming in. I get the feel, though, that income is still a little bit lower. The amount of money that people make is a little bit lower than other parts of the country.
Yeah.
But housing is so much more.
Yeah.
It's even higher than a lot of other parts of the country. And so that just mix doesn't really go together. You
Yeah.
can't
No.
make less and have to spend more because your housing is your biggest portion of your expenses, right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it is just being creative, like I was saying, creating opportunities for yourself. I know that there are people who are house hacking, buying a house that's got an ADU, and there's homes now that are developers are even building that already have an ADU finished in the basement. And you can buy a house that has an ADU and at least cut part of your house payment, cut that down a
Yeah.
little bit. There are a lot of homes right now that are available in some of these outlying areas that are under 400,000 and even 300,000.
Wow.
And I think that a lot of people don't realize that if you're not too picky about where you live
Yeah.
and you're okay with maybe doing a little bit of fix up,
Yeah.
the investors are picking these up, but normal people can pick these up too, and you can actually live in them. And there's several, because I've been looking for clients. I know that there are at least like 10 or 15 properties right now that are good, solid homes, maybe need a little bit of cosmetic work, but they're not totally trashed.
Sure.
And they're under, like I said, 300 or even under $400,000.
Sure.
Yeah, let me know if anybody's listening to this and you're wanting, reach out to me and I'll send you those and
Yeah.
let you see what's available.
Okay.
And there
That's
are a
awesome.
couple of duplexes too.
Okay.
So not just ADUs, but there's a couple of duplexes that are in that lower price range.
Yeah, I do. I was going to say, I feel like there are a lot of different strategies that you can take, such as like house hacking, you said, to be able to get into a home, to be able to afford it. And a lot of people aren't really aware that's even an option.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. Have you had a lot of experiences where you're able to help somebody who doesn't think they're going to qualify for a loan, doesn't think they're going to be able to afford a payment, and then after you helped them and you acted as a consultant for them, they were able to qualify and get into a home?
Yeah, two come to mind. In fact, one that he was like not even, he was told like renter because I can't afford to buy a house. He just had that, and that's what I'm saying, mindset. He just had that as a mindset that he can't afford to buy a house. And so I did send him some of those that are under 300,000, and he actually is pretty handy. So he's okay with doing a little bit of fix up.
Yeah.
So that just opened a new world for him, just changing that mindset of, oh, maybe I can, even
Yeah.
if you're just like, maybe I can. And then another guy, it was a couple, and it was their first time buying a home together. They are a little bit older, but it's a second marriage. And so this is the first time that they bought a house together.
Sure.
And he didn't even have a job.
Oh, wow.
And she had this little, I don't even know how much she made. It wasn't even enough to practically put on the
Yeah, sure.
loan application.
Sure.
But he was looking for a job, but he didn't have a job yet.
Okay.
And we worked with the lender, and he's, yeah, as long as you get a job before we close, then we're good.
Yeah.
Because we told him about how much he was worth, how
Sure.
much he could probably make.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times people just think, and just long story short, they did end up buying a house that
Yeah.
was in the 500,000 range. It's their dream home. They still tell me it's just the perfect house for them. And their kids are like, how did you afford this house? You didn't even have a job. Like, how did this happen? But I think part of it is just working with somebody who believes in you
Yeah.
and says, yeah, let's just do all the steps. Let's just make sure we get it all done and we can do it.
Yeah, love that. And for anybody who's listening, yeah, she's talking about like a contract for employment. So if you get a contract for a job, we can close a loan up to 60 days beforehand, you know. And
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's awesome. So then you're starting,
Yeah, very
and
cool.
there's certainly a lot of motivation to get that job then too, right?
Yes, for sure.
If it's tied to a house that you're going to enjoy
Yeah.
and stuff, so.
I want to mention too, the way that worked out was so perfect. And I am a believer that all things work together for good.
Yeah.
And it really did work out the best for them to have that particular house.
Yeah.
Because they'd actually told me that they didn't want to live any further south than Springville.
Okay.
And I was looking at something more north,
Yeah.
but we just weren't finding exactly what they were looking for. And so I just expanded the reach, and I found something in Payson, and they're like, we don't live in Payson. And I'm like, yeah, but let's just go look at it. And it was so perfect. Like, they had a motorhome, like a 30-foot motorhome. There was a motorhome pull in, pull out on the street.
Yeah.
He's a car guy, and he was always working on a project, and it had a garage, and it had a carport that would fit 4 cars under it. It's just like everything was so perfect. And he ended up getting a job in Nephi, which was totally unexpected.
Yeah.
And if we had found him something up north, he
would
may
drive
have
a little
never
bit more.
even looked in
Yeah.
Nephi, or he may have found that and thought, wow, now I've got this commute. So it actually was perfect. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is just being open and allowing yourself to follow your heart, like
Yeah.
you mentioned.
Yeah, I love that. And yeah, again, not all the things were in place when you started that. You know what I mean? Only had a couple things, but then everything did fall. I love that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a great story, actually. What advice would you give sellers in this market right now? Somebody because homes are sitting a little bit longer right now in general. Is that true? And then,
It's about, I think, average around 47 days the last
Okay.
time I looked.
Okay.
I think that was last month. I can't remember if I've looked since then. But yes, as far as selling, again, if you find yourself in a situation where you need to sell, I wouldn't hold back. I would definitely go forward with that and work really closely with your realtor, because your realtor has we have access to so much data and
Yeah.
everything. One of the things with this couple that I'm going to be meeting with in just a little bit is they need to sell their house fast. They actually need to be out in April, which
Okay.
is just a
Yeah.
month away.
Yeah.
And they have a certain amount that they need to get because they're moving into another place. So they need to be able to afford that. And so there's the price factor, and then there's also the time factor. And a lot of agents I know will say, if we need to get a certain price, then we'll have to have it on the market longer. Or if we need to sell by this date, then we'll just really slash the price
Yep.
so that people will come in. But again, I just really feel like all things work together for good. And so if you really need to get that certain price and you still need to sell fast, I know that there's the perfect buyer out there. Just like where I got the full price offer within 24 hours of putting it on the market. My seller was out of state. His
Yeah.
mom had passed away, and he was out of state. And so obviously he didn't want to hang on to this property for a long time, and it still had a mortgage on it. And so he didn't want to keep paying the mortgage
Sure.
and the HOA fees and everything. And so he wanted to get it done fast. But at the same time, he was using the proceeds to be able to help his disabled sister get into a condo.
Okay.
And so there was like a certain amount of money that he needed to get. And I just feel when you have like good intentions and you feel everybody is coming together to try to create something beautiful so that everybody's winning, then it's all going to work together.
Yeah.
And the couple that bought it, it was a perfect neighborhood for them. And so everybody wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And so as far as selling right now, it is possible to do, people are
sure.
selling.
Yeah, you look at the averages and you're like, you can probably guarantee it's going to be about this time if we just did everything according to the book. But let's think outside the box. Let's try some different strategies and see if we can make things happen a little quicker or whatever.
Love that. This has been great. It's been great talking to you, Wylene. Any questions that you had, Case, that we didn't hit?
No, I like where the conversation went. I think
It's good. Yeah. So maybe as we conclude and stuff like that, talk to me about, I guess, just what makes you different from other agents. And so somebody listening to this, and obviously they've gotten to know you a little bit throughout the course of this podcast. Obviously you're a person that loves what you do. I can tell you're a woman of faith and just love what you do, right? You're believing in these things. But why would somebody choose you, I guess, as far as real estate goes?
One of the things that I feel I bring to the table, besides what you've already mentioned, is I do have a background in like breakthrough mentoring.
Yeah.
I was a breakthrough mentor for 5 or 6 years, and I feel like that this is a highly emotional decision usually when people are buying or selling a house. And one of the things that I'm always able to do is to help people feel like they are in a safe, comfortable, secure place, no matter what the situation is. And with real estate transactions, things come up that you're not expecting, but I always feel like that I'm able to maintain that emotional security within the person, within the transaction, and not just my client, but the title person, the mortgage person, the seller, the seller's agent or the buyer's agent, if I'm representing the seller. I feel like everybody that I've worked with, and I've even had people say, you are the best agent ever, because I feel like I lead, I'm able to foresee the things that are coming. Yeah. And a lot of that is because I pray about my transactions. And so I feel like I get information before it maybe becomes a problem.
Sure.
And so I feel like that's one thing that I bring to the table that a lot of agents don't consider is there's like an energetic contract with the client, not just a paper contract.
Sure.
And I feel like we definitely work together to create, like I said, definitely a win-win, but so that it's next level win-win. It's not just, oh yeah, everything worked out great.
Yeah.
It's, wow, this was like a miraculous everything coming together. I don't even know how this happened, but I do know how this happened.
There's a lot of moving parts in real estate, right? Like you mentioned, all the different players that come into one single transaction. And so to be able to get all those moving parts together, that takes the talent. But you can tell, again, that you love what you do. And part of that foresight probably also comes from your knowledge. You've been doing this for a long time. Right. You do have that knowledge. And I'm guessing some of that foresight comes from just your own ability to see some things.
Yeah.
Right? You have a lot of experience and stuff.
Yeah, I definitely feel like my 30 plus years before becoming a realtor comes into play.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that helps me foresee something that might happen, that could potentially happen, and head it off before it happens.
Yeah, because you've seen a lot of, I'm guessing you've had a lot of bad experiences, a lot of good experiences too. That's just part of 30 years.
Right,
right? You're
exactly.
going to have a combination of experiences in those. And so, good. Wylene, is there anything that we didn't hit that you wanted to hit before we conclude here?
I feel like this was really great. I loved the questions that you asked. I feel like hopefully it's helpful for the people that are listening, and it's been fun for me.
Good.
And I'm looking forward to working with you as a mortgage person too, as a lender.
Same here. Same here. Thanks, Wylene. Appreciate you coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for tuning in to From Rents to Roots. I hope today's episode gave you insight, confidence, and maybe even a little inspiration on your homeownership journey. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might find it helpful. And if you're ready to take the next step in buying a home or just have questions, reach out to me or my team at Work Hard Mortgage. We'd love to help you on your path to homeownership. Until next time, keep working hard, keep building your future, and we'll see you soon.